Who are you? Life Quest, Life Mapping. This is part of our Vision Quest series. So the Life Quest and Life Mapping begins with this drawing on the backside of it. The drawing we more often than not call a life mapping drawing. And so in a very short amount of time, this diagram, believe it or not, is everything that makes up who you are. It makes up your family history, the 5 chapters of your life and the story of your life, where you are now, where you want to be in the future, the 5 kind of ideal goals and wishes, and the 5 situations in your life and where you fit in our country and where you fit in the world and where you fit in the universe. And so when this is filled in, it looks like a lot, but when this is filled in, what you end up finding yourself, is that you end up finding all these details about your life and so it's amazing to think about again your family history, where you are. I mean, what your life story, where you are now, where you want to be, and how everything kind of breaks down. And so it's going to end up looking like this, but it's got some steps to go through to kind of get you to each one of those elements. We have some software, and we're in the process of designing an app for this. It's called my-lifequest.com. If you want to go there as well, it literally looks like this. It's got some other sections, but let's dive right into it. Your life mapping, right? And so we're going to go through and I want to show you again what the sections are and then how that works. Again, this is all part of the Life Quest series. We're going to start with your family history and then just a simple set of questions too. It's not anything all that complex or it has any profound depth to it. It's just a matter of getting you to think through those things that are already in you. So we're going to start with where you are, your overall life history and family history in the bottom 2 sections, where you are now, what you want from the future, the find kind of 5 total kind of priorities of your life, and then the circumstances and situations in your life go here on the right hand side as well. So, okay, we're going to start first with who raised you, right? Your parents or guardians, So, here, so now for the sake of this exercise, what we want to do is we want to take that very bottom circle and split it in half. And on one half, you can put kind of the male figures in your life and the female figures in your life and that kind of thing. But overall, good or bad, happy or sad, who are the people that have raised you? Now you can put all those different names in there. I was very fortunate to, my mother, my father, and both sides of their family were heavily involved. So, but that kind of thing. So, and a lot of relatives and everybody else, played a role in that. But I know that's not the same for everyone. And I know some people probably, did not even know their parents. And so the whole idea is that, it doesn't, our past doesn't dictate our future. It sets up just an amazing story for us for where we are now and where we can be in our life. So good or bad, happy or sad, who are the people that raised you? Obviously, the more common kind of situation is you can put your mother on one side, your father on one side, or your mother's side of the family, your father's side of the family, or just none of it at all. And so you don't necessarily have to split this in half. But again, who raised you? Good or bad, happy or sad, who raised you? Now, the top section is all about you. I mean, the section above that bottom section is all about you. These are what we call the 5 chapters of your past. So you hear me also saying the 5 sections of your past and the 5 chapters of your past. So how does this work? This is the most probably kind of unique way of looking at your past. And we got an interesting timeline that you have to use, and it takes a second to get used to. So I'm gonna show you what that looks like. It's gonna look like a lot, but what you do is the first thing you do in this series is you find your age range over here to the left. So let's say that you're 26 to 30 years old. That would be these are your age divided by 5. And so it'd be 0 to 6 years old, 7 to 12, 13 to 18, right? Let's say you're 46 to 50. Then yours would be 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 years old to 30 years old, 31 to 40, 41 to 50. And it would go above and outside of these 5 sections. Remember, this was your family history down here, and then this was the bottom sections there. But you put it back on the main chart. Let's say if you're 61 to 65, then it'd be 0 to 13 years old. And again, you see it says first, second section. Those are the chapters as well. But so you would have 0 to 13, 14 to 26, 27 to 39, 41 to 52, 53 to whatever your final age is. But for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to use 36 to 39 years old, which would fit in this range right here, 36 to 40 years old. So you'd have 0 to 8 years old, 9 to 16, 17 to 24, 25 to 32, 33 to 40. So you're going to keep seeing this chart. So the first thing is find your age range and then put it above those 5 chapters. And I'll show you what that looks like. So again, here's the actual life map. Here's the age chart. And this is what it would look like. So if someone was 39 years old, they would be using the 36 to 40. It'd be 0 to 8 years old, 9 to 16, 17 to 24, 25 to 32, 33 to 39 years old. So Now, what you do from here is, and again, you're gonna, I'm just kind of just constantly putting the timeline up so that way you would be used to it. And so, but here's how that would work again, and you're gonna see it on each page: 0 to 8 years old, 9 to 16. Find your age range, right, and then here's your timeline there of your life timeline. Now, we're gonna ask 3 questions in each one of those chapters. It's the same question, but it's for every chapter of your life. Where did you physically live? It could be, literally like the city, the town, the state, the country. It doesn't matter, the county or anything. Where did you physically live? Or you can put your actual addresses. If you have a physical address, you can put as little as much as you want to, but at least try to put in the country, if nothing else. Where did you physically live during these time periods of your life? And again, you can be as general or specific as you want to in each one of the chapters of your life. If I lived in a lot of different places, and so I obviously have a lot of overlap in some of these different places. I went to 2 elementary schools, 2 junior high schools, and 3 high schools within a 5-year time period, just that alone. And so, but to give you an idea, again, where did you physically live during these chapters of your life? Right? Okay. So that's the first question to kind of ponder and think about. If you want to, you can pause it and just kind of write your ideas and thoughts down, or you can go online and you can fill it out. And then we're going to have it where you can print this sheet out too, and you can fill it out on your own. Okay. So now the second question is actually got 2 parts to it. So that was the first question right there. The second question is, okay, so that was what I just stated right there. Where did you physically live? But the second question is a 2-part question. Where'd you go to school or work during these time periods of your life? School or work. So the idea is that this is the beginning of understanding the connections that you made with other people usually showed up in most of these environments that we have. And remember, this is from the time you were born to your current age. So, whatever the timeline spread is, most likely the last section or the last chapter is probably anywhere from the last 5 to 10 or 15 years of your life. So again, where did you physically go to school and work during these chapters? Now, if you were like me and you had a lot of different jobs, you may only want to put the main ones that you worked. But definitely the schools and colleges or trainings and just anything where you were learning something or got a skill, where'd you go to school or work doing these same 5 chapters of your life. So you're writing a miniature bio of your life. All right. So now, again, that was the second question. All right. Third question. The third question is very direct and it's pretty heavy and pretty serious, right? The third question, the first 2 questions actually set up this third question. And so everything we do is always personal, private, confidential. You don't have to share it with anyone. And you kind of change the story as you need to. But the final question, good or bad, happy or sad, what are some memories and experiences from these same chapters of your life? Each one of them, all 5 chapters, good or bad, happy or sad, was some memories and experiences from those time periods in your life. So I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood. My mom was a teenage mom, but I tell you something, but it's an amazing amount of love that was in our lives, even though we kind of had a lot of struggles when we were younger. But that's just to get an idea. So but again, good or bad, happy or sad, what are some memories and experiences from these same chapters of your life? So we got the 206 bone, 46 chromosomes, but you're the person behind your eyes. These are your stories, right? See, so that's in just this first section, these first 2 sections. So you got your family history or who raised you, and now you got your actual experiences of your own life is tied into those 3 things. So that kind of wraps up the chapters of your life. That's what this is intended to do. Those first 2 sections. In just these little few minutes, you've already got an outline of your entire life in just those few minutes. Now, we're going to come in and look at what is your current situations? What's the current things that you're having to kind of address or deal with or confront, or that you're celebrating, or that you're, kind of putting your energy into? We call those the 86,400 seconds. That's the right now, the here and now, the moments of your life. And so where that shows up is in that middle circle right here. So we got your past. This is going to represent your present. And then the very top is going to represent your future. And then we're going to do different things with the 10 arcing circles, 5 on the left and 5 on the right. But for now, what we're looking at, and so far, this is what your map would look like. You got it, these sections filled in. And then we're going to look at that 168 hours in a week, the 24 hours in a day, the 1,440 minutes in a day. There are 86,400 seconds in a day. And again, you're going to write this above and outside of this circle. And then we're going to ask you one question, but it's a very interesting and unique perspective on the way you kind of take in your day. What are the things you find yourself thinking about once every 5 minutes, once every 10 minutes, or once an hour, or just an average day? What do you find yourself thinking about when you first wake up? What do you find yourself thinking about right before you go to sleep? You can make this list as big as you want it, and we encourage that too. Put in everything and everybody and all the circumstances, situations that you think you can possibly think about in that 86,400 seconds. What are the things you find yourself thinking about or doing in an average day? What are the things that you do, or just you can make this big list? Those are the things that you're managing in your life. Those details matter. And they say a lot about us. Sometimes we don't get a chance to stop and kind of think about the significance of those things. And there are no small things. There really isn't. It may be sometimes a small list, but it's not really small things in our lives. And we kind of take on that perspective sometimes, which you're going to see with us. That's not, with the group and team and people I have around me. We're constantly want people to be at their best all the time. So we'll talk about that here in a second. So far, this is what your map is now looking like, right? So the core thing was, what are your thoughts? What do you find yourself thinking about once every 5 minutes, once every 10 minutes, once an hour, or just do an average day? Your total list. Make that list as big as you can. All right. So far, your map would look like this. You got your all right, who raised you, your family history. You got the story and details of your life. You got an outline of the bio of your life. And so you, in three different aspects: where'd you live, where'd you go to school and work, and what are some memories and experiences from the same time period in your life. All right, so now, and then of course we come into the here and now. What are those thoughts that you have all day? All right, so here's the thing. These bottom two sections allow you to get yourself aimed at all your goals and dreams and your wishes and plans. And so we're going to look at what you want to accomplish in your lifetime and what do you want to accomplish year to year, and what are some of the short term immediate things that you would like to accomplish or do, or just be part of in your life, right? So that shows up in this very top circle. And this is what we call a future circle. So we got your history, we got your situations, moments, and now we got your future. So we typically take the future in two parts. So in the very top half, you can split the future in half. You can split it horizontally or vertically. Doesn't matter. Just split it in half. Actually, you can split it any way you want to. But the core thing is, because we're going to try to the main question that here that I really want you to put everything you got into this as well. I'm one of those people then when people come to me, their dreams and goals and their wishes, I'm like, hey, let's get to work. I'm not one of those people that's going to say it can't be done. More than often than not, I'm going to say it can be done. There's some things that may be a little harder than others, but it can be done. And so the idea is that I want you to dream and dream big. What are all the things that you want to accomplish in your lifetime, right? They call it your bucket list. What are all the things that you would love to just have done for you and anything and everybody else, right? Make that list as big as you can. And I'm telling you, we're dream builders. The big as that list you're going to make it, we're going to do everything we can to help you accomplish those things. Because at the end of the day, dreams take processes and systems and support and all this good stuff all at the same time. So what is that bucket list? What is the ultimate things you'd like to accomplish in your lifetime? And so please put that in one half of the future circle. Now, the next thing is, I intentionally, when I work with people, as I tell them, I said, what's the point of having big lifetime goals if you need help with things in the next 15, 20, or 30 days? So it's important to understand what that looks like, planning for those immediate things in your life too. So why not plan? Let's plan for the next year, right? Let's travel around the sun one more time, another 365 days. So what it looks like is, what are those things that you want to accomplish in the next 15 to 60 days? And then what are the things you want to accomplish in the next 3 to 12 months? The more detailed you are about your goals, you'll find that how it makes it easier, not easy completely, just easier to kind of have an understanding of how to put things together to accomplish those goals. So at the top, you got your bucket list, and below that, you got all the things that you want to accomplish in the next kind of 15 days to 3 months to the next 12 or 9 months after that. So, or the things that you want to accomplish between now and the next birthday, or again, by some particular timeline. But again, you got your long-term planning or lifetime planning, and now you got your short-term, maybe immediate things that you would like to accomplish. So far, your map should look like this. And so what you got is your family history, or who raised you. And then, like I said, you got the three parts of your own personal story. Then you got the things that probably really occupy a lot of your time: money, circumstance, emotions, and feelings. And then you got your bucket list up here, all the things that you want to accomplish and the things that you would like to accomplish in the next year. So now we've got the 10 arcing circles left. So, but actually it's going to be broken up. There's going to be 5 to the left, 5 to the right. And this one right here in the bottom left of those 10 is going to be very important. Out of all the things that you want to accomplish, out of your entire future list, it can be short term or it can be lifetime. What would you say is the number one thing that you would like to accomplish out of that entire list that's up here? Now, where I want you to put that is, we call it as your number one goal. I want you to put that in the first circle to the left. this very first circle to the left, that is going to be labeled as your number one goal. It can be lifetime, it can be immediate, it's just, or you can come up with a whole different list. But either way, we want your number one goal to go in that first circle to the left. And then we call these pathways, and that part of how it's different things that we're going to put together around it. Okay, so now these next four circles, what they're going to be is the other top four goals that you have. So you're going to end up with the top five. Now the other four, they don't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't. You can just put in them as you think about them. But what would you say all together is your top five goals? And so again, this should come from the things that you want to accomplish in your lifetime and the things that you probably want to accomplish immediate. If you had to put in the top five, so if you had more than five, that's great, but we only want the top five. If you had less than five, I try to tell people, try to always have at least three goals. Have a main goal, a backup, and a backup to the backup goal, if nothing else. Because setting goals and planning are not about perfection. They're not about guarantees. They're about preparation. And preparation usually is what allows you to get more accomplished, is being prepared for the moment. So that way you can concentrate on the things that really matter and what the priorities are. But let me tell you something else about goals. A goal without a timeline is just a wish for the most part. And so I try to get people to be very specific about when would you like to accomplish that goal by. Is something you're trying to do every day? Is it something you're trying to do at a certain time of day? Is it something that you're trying to do at by a certain moment or a certain event or activity? So what I want you to do is on every one of those goals, I want you to write when would you like to have that goal accomplished by. Is it, again, is it by a certain year, a certain month, a certain anniversary or activity or event, or is it something every day? When would you like to have that goal accomplished near each one of those circles, near each one of those bubbles? I want you to not only have your top five goals, but when you'd like to have that goal accomplished by. So that's what these sections are dedicated to. Okay, so far, this is what your life map and your life quest and this vision quest exercise would look like. Again, family history or who raised you. The story, the outline and story of your life, where the things that you really think about and kind of what goes through the moments and motions of your day, and then your lifetime, what you want to accomplish your lifetime, your immediate goals, and then the top five goals and a timeline for each one of those things, right? So, but what's interesting is out of all the information that you have on here, probably the thing that we're going to ask for next is probably one of those things that occupies so much of who you are and what really matters to you, right? Or one of the things that really matters to you. So what that's going to look like is it's going to be your most important thought. We're going to come back to that middle circle that was right here. Remember, I had you put all the things you think about once every 5 minutes, once an hour throughout an average day. But where we're going to put that most important thought, and we only want one. Out of all the things you think about once every 5 minutes or once an hour, I want you to put the number one thought here on the right. The number one thought that you have. Now, don't worry about 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We just want the number one for now, because these other four circles are going to be something different. So what that looks like is, I said earlier, there are 168 hours in a week. And what that's going to do is that right here, what you're going to do is, these are going to be the top four places that you spend your time in an average week. Physically spend your time an average week. Where are you on most mornings, afternoons, and evenings? Where do you wake up most of the time? And so, and what does that kind of look like? And I'm not taking it for granted that everyone has a stable place or stable things going in their life, but we want you to try to put as many of those things as you possibly can. Where are you? What are the top four places you spend your time in an average week? Now, a couple of things over the years that I've learned is that if you live in a city that has a lot of commuting, then a car can count. And that definitely, I live in one of those cities, and so a car absolutely counts. And then also I've learned that, of course, working at home, different rooms in the home can do different things. So we'll even take that. If you're in different parts of the house throughout the time periods of the day or the time periods of the week, that works as well, right? And if there's a lot of transition in your life, just try to put in the top four places that you probably spent your time in the last month, right? So at this point, so we've got a pretty much a roadmap that's within your life map all by itself. And we've covered all the primary sections of the life map. But there are intentionally two sections that we leave out, but we're going to get to that in just a moment. But here's the thing, is that people think that there's not a lot to this, but this is who we all represent when we meet each other. But sometimes we only get that middle circle out of people at best, and maybe one of these locations at best. And sometimes we don't even have a mechanism of sharing our goals and dreams with other people, right? And most people probably don't even know what that number one thought is. So what I try to get folks to understand is we're part of so much stuff, so much bigger than what we kind of realize in most of the times and moments of our lives. And so what that looks like is, and I say this statement all the time, is that, the universe needs us. If the universe didn't need us, it wouldn't be allow us to even be in these moments. So sometimes we kind of lose sight of that or don't understand that we're part of so much bigger stuff that's going on around us, even if other people don't even acknowledge that. But we do. We know there's that kind of precious value in all of us. It's priceless. Each living soul is priceless, right? And so the idea is that where do we fit in our country? Where do we fit in the world? And so the whole thing is, and I say this and I mean it, the universe needs us. The universe has requested your presence. And if it didn't want us to be here, we wouldn't be here. So why? What is that reason? Why do we play a role in that? And sometimes it's in the smallest details of our lives. I'm the sum of my parts. So little of who I am, I can claim for myself. And when I tell the story right, I have to talk about all the other things that have happened in my life and people and places and things that I've been part of that have allowed me to be the person I am. But I know in the true essence of it all, the universe has requested our presence. So what does that look like, right? There's 345 million people in the United States, and there's 8.2 billion people, at least the current data we have. And so the 8.2 billion people in the world. But even though there may only be one of us, we're part of that entire framework and system and amazing just energy of what life looks like. Even though I know it sometimes get rough and tough and tangled, but the thing about it is that we all somehow play some major role in all of this. There are no really small parts, right, or no small actors. It's all about what we give to what we have, and I am personally and definitely around a lot of people who we believe in that. How do we bring out the best in each other, right? So here's how this looks. So again, 345 million people in the United States, 8.2 billion people in the world, but the universe has requested your presence. And what does that mean, right? We need each other in some particular way. How do we bring out the best in each other is really what I mean by it for the most part. And that doesn't mean there's a perfect way to do it, a perfect process or system, or just a perfect thought about it. We're learning all of that. But this is what it looks like for us. And it's something that we add to the map. It doesn't normally come on the map. It's in the software and it's definitely going to be in the app. But we call this the support circle. And we're constantly trying to get people to understand that that is part of who we are. It probably always has been, whether we have been acknowledging it or understanding it or understanding where it belongs in our life or where we fit in it. And so we add this support circle. Now, if you're doing the physical drawing of this, then you probably ran out of some space. So you don't have to put this in the bottom left. You can put it in the top. On the software, it's in the bottom, and on the app, it'll be in the bottom too. The app should be finished very soon. So the whole thing is that in your support circle, we're going to ask you one question. But it's a very interesting way to kind of think about the role that we've played in our lives and people play in each other's life, right? And in this instruction, we say living or who have passed. Even if it's someone that's alive now or someone that's passed in your life, if there was someone who really wanted to always see you at your best, who was always trying to encourage you, was always trying to get you to kind of do the things that you kind of talked about or really matter to you, or just wanted to see some peace and happiness in your life, what we want you to do is write the names or initials of that person in this support circle here. And the reason I even personally say living or past, my grandmother passed in 1993, but she was so encouraging to all of us and all her friends and neighbors and colleagues. She was just amazing, right? And so her whole idea, she was in everybody's support circle. And she wasn't no weak person. She cared and loved people with strength. And yet her soul and essence resonates with me all the time. And that's the same thing. It be someone living or who have passed. Who are those people that are in your support circle? And if you feel like you don't have anyone, then I'm telling you, you can definitely put me in your list. You can put the people who may have suggested that you watch this video on the list. And then there's a whole group of us that all think the same. So you can add us, and we're going to keep adding ourselves to that list. And we want to help people be at their best. So again, that's main question here is, who are the people living or who are past that are in your support circle? All right. Now, there's one section left that we're going to add to this map, to the life map, and to the life quest. That is and it's not normally on the normal drawing when you do the printout, but again, it's on the app, it's on the software, and so you'll see it automatically there. And we call this circle. Well, first of all, I say this all the time. There's 206 bones, 46 chromosomes, but you're the person behind your eyes, right? And that's what this is really about. And at the end of the day, it's how you feel about where you are inside of you, right? Because we want to help that get stronger and help you kind of find all those things or enhance all those things that makes you who you are. And so, but there's a pretty unique position that we take on. And so we add another circle. We call this circle the alone circle. And to write the word, to spell the word alone out, you have to put the word one inside of it, right? And I do not take this circle for granted at all. Because of all the things that we put on here, It's the one that probably defines more about the kind of inner self that we are. And that's the alone circle, right? And so to me, whether I'm around a bunch of people, I'm by myself or some extended time period, or just even for a few moments. And so that alone mind in me kicks in. And so, but for me, I have what I call the alone list. I read, I write, I pray, I research. I research a lot of things, and people say I know a lot of things, but I know I don't know everything. So I'm forever researching something. And I'm forever trying to get a better perspective on maybe stuff I don't understand about me and the world and all these things around me. So I have an alone list. I really do. Of the things that kind of get me back into the mindset of thinking and putting things in perspective in a way that gets me, renewed and strengthened. What is yours? What are the things that you would do? Oh, by the way, too, if you ran out of space, you can put the alone circle up at the top. But what are the things that's in your routines and habits? What is your list of things do you do to keep you focused, centered, and feeling good? Or having some harmony and peace in your life, right? So at this point, that alone list is kind of where the exercise ends for the exercise. But we're going to look at how all these things work together, right? Here's your alone list and your support circle. That was the last two sections that we covered right there. But again, this is now what your map looks like. It's got all the sections filled in. Okay, who raised you, the outline of your life, where your thoughts are, your bucket list, what do you need to accomplish in the short term, your top 5 goals, the timeline that goes together with them, your number one thought, the top 4 places you spend your time, your support circle, and now your alone list. Well, here's your outline. If nothing else, it can help you do so many different things just by itself. And we're going to do a lot of classes and workshops on all these different sections. So you'll see a lot of videos and content, and we'll have, life coaches and mentors and different people kind of sharing their experience about this entire life quest exercise. But how well do you know yourself? Let's take a little road trip around your map, right? And, maps help us get direction, help us find our way around. And, things can change along the way, and the roads usually aren't straight. And they look like they are, but they usually aren't. If not, they go up and down, right? But this kind of tour that we're going to take starts with where we left off in your alone circle, in your alone list. And I mean, it's real too. Let's say, that all of a sudden you're having a rough situation come up, and it turns into a rough moment and a rough day and rough couple of weeks and months and maybe even years, sadly. And it just seems like nothing is working. Everything seems to not be going in your favor. That is a real sense of things, and that's a real feeling and a real set of experiences. And it may change or make you doubt the things that you have in your alone list. It may make you wonder, why these things aren't staying the way they are, changing, or things beyond your control. I mean, there's so much that goes into where that alone mind goes and what it does. Well, at some point, at least for me, I try to reach out and try to find some help in some particular way. I don't shy about that. And so let's say the same thing with you. If you're struggling with your alone list, where on your map would you go to get some help? And usually people will say in the live class, they'll say, hey, we go to the support circle. And I was like, that's great. That's one of the absolute thoughts that I know for myself that I have. Because even though sometimes that the people who raised you, good or bad, happy or sad, is that may not be a place that you can go for various reasons, that they may not be experienced in the things that you now have experienced it or have a point of view. And sadly, they may no longer even be there to be able to help you. I once read years ago, there was a sad stat that I read that said 35% of the people have 45% of the people above the age of 35 have lost at least one parent. And so that means that may be the key parent that was here. So that means they may have lost an element of being able to come to the family circle altogether. So, but if you can, that's great. I'm one of the few fortunate people that still has both my parents alive. I don't take that for granted at all. And so here's the thing. So now if you come over to this circle here and you look at your support circle, right? And so the idea is that what inside that support circle, a lot, so once you come over to your support circle, right? And remember I said here that when you come over here, and I want you to think about something for a second, right? Living or who passed. I come to my support circle often because it just feels like I never understand everything. So the idea is, but here's the thing to help you understand the support circle. Let's say those people's names or initials that you put into your support circle, that if they did this same life map, they did the same life quest, and we came to the support circle and we asked the same question, who are the people in their support circle? Would they put your name in their support circle? That's just as significant as having people come to yours. The support circle is not one bridge, it's a lot of bridges. And it's got to have a way that it can't be a one-way bridge in most cases. I love the idea that I've got all these elements in my support circle, both living and past. And I do as much as I can to make sure that that bridge is open both ways because it allows me to enhance all the other elements of my life. Now, again, it's not perfect and it does not come without its struggles and strife. But at the same time, I acknowledge that the role that it plays. And that kind of gives me more clearance to make sure that I'm able to expand this circle. This is one of the largest circles in my life, by the way. Okay, so now that pretty much sounds kind of like the collectiveness in our lives. Let's look at your overall story, right? The 5 chapters of your life. Here's the thing. I normally give people an assignment and for the 5 chapters of their life. What you're looking to do is that I want you to actually Google the day you were born and the city that you were born in, and well, the date that you were born in, the city that you were born in, and let Google do its magic. What it typically does will come back as it shows you like all the news articles and events and things that were going on in the world at that time when you were born. And so often in the live classes, people will say, I did not know that was going on. And I was like, that's my point. We usually have lived the perspective of our life through our own experiences. We may not know all these other things in the world were going on at that time or around us was going on at that time. And so I would suggest doing that for each one of the chapters of your life is pick a particular event, pick the city and the location of where you were at the time and Google it and see what Google just in general says, what was going on in that environment around you. So that's kind of a quick way to get an interesting perspective on maybe the way you thought about the day, the moments and experiences of your life. And there's a lot more to these sections, but again, we'll put those in separate videos. So now we're going to go up to the here and now, the moments of your life. So that when I asked about the things you think about once every 5 minutes or once an hour, let me show you how those things really show up. If you take the number one goal and the number one thought that you have, so the number one goal to the left, the number one thoughts that you have to the right, do they match? Do they share the same space and interest? Now, if they do, then that's good. That's great. That person, you're probably a person who really can get focused on some things you want to work on and do. And I'm telling you, that's wonderful. And we're going to put a lot of videos behind that as well. But if you're someone they seem to not connect, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is the distance between the two. So if they're way far apart, there may be a lot of work you got to do to bring them in closer. But if they have any relationship together at all, then I'm telling you, that's a great place to kind of build and start. There really is no kind of bad way, just as long as you want to be able to kind of bring them closer together. Because let me tell you, it's not just these two. It's not just the number one goal and the number one thought. I want you to think again about all the things that you put in the middle circle, about all the things you think about once every 5 minutes or once an hour throughout an average day, right? You got those? You have the list. But then I want you to compare that list to all your goals and dreams. What are all the things all your goals and dreams, right? Your future dreams, your current things that you want to get taken care of, what is the top 5? When I asked you, what are the things you think about once every 5 minutes or once an hour? How many of your goals made it into the things you think about once every 5 minutes or once an hour? Think about that for a second, right? If your goals are not in the things you think about, then most likely you're not taking the actions toward them. And that's easier to say because I know they can be challenging to do it. But what that most likely will tell us is that the top 4 places you spend your time is that maybe there's some things you need to add to those places or take away from those places so that you have the ability to work on some of these goals and dreams simultaneously. And I know it's not as simple as that. It's just not. And I know there's a lot more to looking at how you actually spend your time in those places, your habits, your routines, all the things that you do and you participate in, the things that you kind of take in, and the things you don't let happen in your life during those times. So those top 4 places have a lot to be analyzed and looked at just by itself. So now, for the most part, that is kind of the last question on the overview of who you are. And again, keep in mind, 345 million people, you're part of it. The 8.2 billion people, you're part of it. But you're part of the way the universe needed you to be here. That's how relevant and significant you are. And no one or anything should be able to take that away from you. And now we're part of what we call the care system and the care alliance. I care, we care. That's the whole thing is how do we bring out the best in each other and be realistic about it at the same time, right? How do we bring out the best in each other? And this is hopefully part of it. And hopefully in some kind of way, this particular exercise gets you thinking about those things and kind of thinking about how you can put things together to help you manage your life better or look at different aspects of your life. Please share this with others if you feel like it. Again, we don't expect that, but it's always good when people do. And so, the whole idea is that whatever we can do to help, we're going to do. And we're going to You're going to see a lot more tools and resources and everything else that we're going to be putting together. You don't necessarily have to, I tell people this stuff is private, personal, and confidential. Don't necessarily have to share with us. Even all our stuff online is encrypted. And so there's all this kind of wonderful things that we're going to be able to do. And we're going to constantly be looking for resources to put in your support circle. You're just not alone. You're not alone. That's the thing that more than anything else that we feel comfortable making a promise to do is that we're going to do everything we can to help people be at their best. And so this is just a quick outline again, the family history, your life story, your thoughts, your top 5 goals, the 4 locations in your life, the number 1 thought, your lifetime, and your birthday, season to season kind of things that you want to accomplish, your support circle and your loan circle, and just kind of the story of our life. So again, this has been the Life Quest, Life Mapping, Who Are You exercise, the journey of your life. It matters to all of us. Be at your best, be encouraged. And I'm Michael Fleming. My personal YouTube channel is Michael Fleming 5299, and you're going to start seeing a lot of these resources and stuff out there for us. We have created this system called the Care Alliances to help you find resources and additional support in your life. The Care Alliances, we have this thing called the Help Your Me system. You just click the little blue locator on the site, and you also can download the app. The app is called the Care Alliances. It's in all the app stores as well. And again, feel free to reach out to me, contact me, and I try to at least I respond to text fast than I do anything else. And if nothing, again, you can find me on Facebook, and we're gonna have a lot of social media profiles, and we're gonna do everything we can to respond to that as well. Again, the website for the life map is my-lifequest.com, and I'll show you what that looks like. And this is literally the web application. It looks like a website, but it's actually web software. And we actually design apps and software. We're a tech company for the most part, but this is where our focus and our energy is, and trying to figure out how can we do things to help improve communities and help improve people's lives. So it's an honor. We're going to have some workshops coming out on how to do 1 to 5 year life planning. We got some wonderful thing about that. Planning is about being prepared. There's some wonderful things that we're going to put in place for that. You'll see all those kind of things coming out as well. It's an absolute honor to serve you and help. Please don't hesitate to like, share, comment, and just let us know. And I promise you, we're going to do everything we can to help out with the challenges. Thank you and take care.